Hello, in this video we are going to discuss how we effectively prepare for class in Math 126. Now, if you look in our Canvas course for Math 126, you will notice that we follow a routine called the 4P routine. So let's take a quick look at the 4P routine, and then we're going to drill in on the first P, which stands for prepare. So if we go into the modules, you will notice in the Getting Started module, there is a description of what to expect in the 4P system or the 4P routine. So you will be reading through this page during the first week of class, but I just want to focus on the first step of the 4P routine. So we can see that the 4P stands for prepare for class, preview, participate in class, and then practice. We're going to focus in this video on this first step here, the prepare for class. Okay, so what does it mean, or how do we prepare for class in Math 126? So to support the learning that's going to happen each day, you're going to engage with the content on a preliminary basis before we meet as a class. Now, you will engage with this content through Canvas through a Google Slideshow presentation. And the slideshow presentation will contain worked examples, it will contain YouTube videos and other online resources. And as you progress through each slideshow, you're going to make notes as you work through the lessons. Notice how I didn't say take notes. You're going to make notes. That means you're going to make and create your own meaning as you watch the slideshows. And you're not just going to passively write down what you see on the screen, but you're going to actively engage with the videos and the worked examples, and you're going to trigger your critical thinking as you're working through the assignments and as you're working through the material in the videos. Now, by engaging with the material before class, you're laying the foundation needed in order to gain a full understanding of the material during class. So it's a preliminary basis before you come to class. And then as soon as we come to class, we take a deep dive into the material. We really target our critical thinking and our problem solving skills, and we work collaboratively with our peers to really engage and understand the material on a deeper level. So for each chapter in the modules, you'll notice it's broken down by sections, and each section starts with the prepare activities. Okay, so when you click on that prepare link, this is what you're going to see for every section. It's going to look something like this. This happens to be for section 3.5. The first thing you're going to do is complete the Be Prepared exercises in the online textbook. Okay, so when you click on the link for the section, it brings you to the online textbook, and then you're going to see something like this. So every section starts with a couple questions, maybe 2 or 3, called Be Prepared. And those Be Prepared questions just kind of give you a little refresher of the prerequisite skills you're going to need to learn the new material in the current lesson. It helps you make a connection between your prior knowledge and the new content we're going to learn. Now, as you work through the Be Prepared slideshow, you're also going to have a notes template with you. You will be given these templates in class, and the templates are for you to make meaningful notes, because you're going to hear me say this a lot during the class. When you're making notes, what you're doing is you're writing down information for your future forgetful self. And we'll talk a lot more about that in class. But you're going to write down the important things you need so that in a week or in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks, if you were to look back at those notes, your future forgetful self is going to be thankful that you wrote down the important stuff that you need. So on your notes template, you'll see these you'll see space to complete these Be Prepared questions. So here are the Be Prepared questions from the text, and you'll notice in my own handwriting, I've completed them in the notes template. All right, after you complete the Be Prepared exercises, you'll have your template, and then you're ready to access the slideshow. So here's the slideshow that you're going to see in Canvas, and you'll notice at the bottom there's arrows that will advance you through the slideshow. So you'll have your template, and your template is where you will be making meaningful notes as you work through and progress through the slideshow. You want to write down your own explanation of what something means. You don't want to just copy word for word. Make a connection to something that you already know and formulate your own questions. So maybe jot down questions in the margins of the template and try to answer those questions on your own. Or if you're really stumped, you bring those questions to class the next day and we can use it to dive deeper into the material. Your idea is to create a resource that's going to be useful for your future forgetful self. Okay, you want to take notes as you actively engage with the content in the slideshow. So here's a student sample of what some notes of a completed notes template. So there's a place to write down a main takeaway, some vocabulary, important formulas. Here's some ideas from the first worked example. And then any hints or questions that you have, you would write down here in the bottom. Now, here's my spoiler alert. You can use your notes templates on the exams and the quizzes. So make them useful. It's for your future forgetful self. If they're useful, your future self is going to thank you when you have to take an exam or a quiz and you have all the information already written down on your template. You're going to be so grateful. Okay, here are some more samples to quickly look at, and these samples are also posted in Canvas so you could take a deeper look at them after this video. But the first thing is you want to actively engage when you're going through the slideshow. You don't just want to simply click through the slideshow and think in the back of your mind, oh yeah, I'll remember this later. No, you want to actively be participating. You want to be making meaningful notes on the template, and you want to make connections to something you already know. Maybe try an extra example or try an example twice if the first time you work through it, you don't understand it. But you want to be an active participant and really immerse yourself in the content, okay? And you can use the samples in Canvas to kind of use as a guide, and then you'll fall into your own routine. So here's what some notes look like. We already saw this on the previous slide. And then as you work through, you'll find that you'll want to write down some extra examples and then make little notes for yourself in the margin so you remember what you did as you were working through the examples. Show all your work. Okay, there's plenty of space for you to add extra examples, as many as you need. Maybe you might not need every single cell because you filled in all the examples already. But then at the end, you definitely want to rate, excuse me, you want to rate your confidence level, okay? Ideally, you want to eventually reach that level where you're extremely confident and you feel that you could explain it to somebody else. Okay, after you've taken notes on the slideshow or after you've made your meaningful notes on the slideshow, you can always go into the online textbook and look for some extra examples. So in our Canvas course, you'll notice there's a link for the online textbook. You can search any topic in the textbook. So say we were working on factoring trinomials, you could type that in the search and it'll pop up. You can highlight in the online textbook and your version of the textbook will save your highlights. You can scroll through the table of contents, but there's so many more extra examples that you could include in your notes template if you feel like you just want one more practice before you end your preview session for the day. Okay, so again, we talked about that 4P routine. So every section of every chapter is going to follow that cycle. So the first thing you do is you prepare for class by making meaningful notes in the notes template. And remember, your notes are for your future forgetful self, and you're completing those be prepared exercises to make sure you're ready for the material we're going to learn the next day. Then what you do is you preview. So there's a quick 5-question preview set in Canvas and in More. It's in our More system, M-O-E-R, but it's embedded into our Canvas course. So you reach it through our Canvas course by clicking on this link. So you're just making sure that you understand the material on a preliminary basis by answering these first 5 questions before you even come to class. Then the third P is participate. That's when you come to class. That's when all the magic happens, right? You've previewed the material on a preliminary basis. You've prepared by making meaningful notes. Now you're ready to take that deep dive during class where you're really going to challenge yourself, challenge your classmates, challenge each other to really reach that deep level of understanding. And then after class, there's another set in More of questions for practice. So that's where you practice the material that you've learned and you make sure that you really do understand it and that you can answer the questions proficiently by practicing them and making sure you still understand them after class. Okay, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this slideshow, and I hope it gave you a little bit more insight on the 4P routine. Of course, you can always go into this page in Canvas and look at everything on a much deeper level. And like I said, there are some notes, templates, and samples also included in Canvas. And that's just on the next page, so you can see those samples of notes again and take a closer look. Have a wonderful day.